Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Do not throw away your masks just yet, while one medical officer is insisting that mask wearing is still necessary. WHO says COVID-19 cases rising in 4 out of 6 of its regions. And later in sports, Vin Blaine resigns as head coach of the Reggae Girls. And here are the details. Do not throw away your masks just yet. A warning from at least one medical officer as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. Codian Barrett reports.
On or off, since the dropping of mask mandate, fewer people have been wearing masks in public spaces. During the recent St. James Municipal Monthly Meeting, Medical Officer for St. James, Dr. Phillips Kelly, made the observation also when 50% of those in attendance opted not to wear any mask, a concern as she pointed to increasing COVID-19 positivity rate in the parish.
Having sorted results for COVID-19, we note that the numbers are increasing again. And for St. James, for the samples that we would have taken at the St. James Health Department for the week that ended the 6th of May, we had a 65% positivity rate.
But one member sought to justify the lack of mask wearing with being vaccinated. This was her response.
The information that comes with the results is not just the fact that persons have been tested on a particular day and what their result is, but what also comes is their vaccination status. And when I look in the red, and red is positive, and in this instance not good, we have fully vaccinated persons whose results are positive.
Dr. Kelly is urging Jamaicans to maintain all precautions and operate with the knowledge that COVID-19 is here to stay. Over the last 3 weeks, the country's COVID-19 positivity rate has been climbing. The latest data published by the Ministry of Health and Wellness indicates that 3 in every 10 persons who were tested for COVID-19 returned an adverse finding. Almost 3,000 persons have died in Jamaica from the virus as last Friday. Codian Barrett, TVJ News.
And the World Health Organization says over the last week, COVID-19 cases have risen in 4 out of 6 of its regions. The WHO says due to testing and sequencing reducing in many countries, it is increasingly difficult to know where the virus is and how it is mutating. The WHO Director General addressed a press conference this morning.
The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the DPRK, has announced through their state media their first outbreak of COVID-19, with more than 1.4 million suspected cases since late April. WHO is deeply concerned at the risk of further spread of COVID-19 in the country, particularly because the population is unvaccinated and many have underlying conditions putting them at risk of severe disease and death. We're also concerned about Eritrea, another country that has not started vaccinating its population.
News now on the political scene. People's National Party chairperson and opposition spokesperson on education, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, is raising concern about matters she believes are affecting students. As Sandy Williams reports, Dr. Brown-Burke is blaming the government for its failure to address the issues.
The return of face-to-face classes at most schools was expected to be the light at the end of the tunnel for students' education, but instead, it has birthed fresh concerns. At a recent PNP divisional conference in Troja St. Catherine, chairperson of the opposition People's National Party, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, said since the pandemic, there has been an increase in malnutrition among students, and she is pointing fingers at the government.
With the little money that was there to make the Nutribullet and something, them thief it and put it in them pocket. Can you imagine that? So you know the thing drop a gun, you know? Yes. Because even people pick the lunch money, them thief and put in them pocket. And all now we don't hear nothing. Nothing. People go and have big birthday party, how much $1,000 for cake. Next thing you turn around and you hear them helper, them driver, them this, them that, the payroll. And all no.
Dr. Brown-Burke, who is also the opposition spokesperson on education, laments the poor performance of students at the primary level.
A report that they sent out not so long ago say 94.3% of our children, yes, 3 to 5, are in school, which is good, very good. It's almost all of them. But what they've also said is that by the time they get to grade 4, 5, and 6, most of them still can't read and write. They are innumerate and illiterate.
She adds that at least 70% of high school graduates fail to pass the minimum of 5 subjects, including mathematics and English. She believes the problem stems from the early childhood level.
What we have to do, therefore, is to demand of the government that we could fix it from there at the ground, at the beginning, early childhood education. Let's fix it there.
In the meantime, Dr. Brown-Burke is urging parents to pay close attention to the affairs of schools.
Some of you are sending your children to some places that are not really school. Cannot teach in or go on there. You understand? So when you spend the money and you send them there and they go to grade 1 primary school, you hear that they can't pass the grade 1 readiness test. They are not ready for grade 1. And what happens when they are not ready for grade 1 is by the time you get to grades 4, 5, and 6, you can't read and write and you can't do those things.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
In the meantime, leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, is calling for the government to do more to assist the farmers in Portland. Mr. Golding was speaking at a PNP conference in East Portland. More in this report. The opposition leader says the war between Russia and Ukraine is making it difficult for farmers to get the necessary chemicals for farming. It's why he wants government to intervene.
Government needs to step in and provide some meaningful subsidies in that area just until we get through this present crisis with what's happening in Ukraine, which is, as one of the main suppliers in the world of agricultural chemicals and fertilizer. So we need the government to step up in that area.
With Portland now poised for major development in tourism, the councillor caretaker for the Fellowship Division, Colin Bell, also wants residents of East Portland to benefit. He says with the natural resources in Portland, the people should not be left behind.
Where we are from, we're rich. The wealth is here. But because of a lack of vision, our people are perishing.
In the meantime, with the local government election months away, Mr. Bell left this message for party supporters.
The next election is going to be an election of base. Let me say, it's going to be an election of base. So ensure that the PNP base come vote in any more election. If the PNP base have voted in the last election, we would have won.
Oshin. And it's time for a break here on the Midday News. Stay with us. More stories when we return.